Alexa, turn it up to 7.
amongst people who this will be
Yorkshire land, all Igbo land. We are one family.